Hi, I'm Guy,
Hi, I'm Troy.
and this is Geek Tank.
The podcast is coming from inside your house-sized podcast.
The podcast has just snuck up on. There you go.
Yeah, it's right behind you.
Ah!
You turn around and look, it's going to be right there. And then you're dead. So
I guess we got Halloween coming up.
4 more days.
4 more days until Halloween,
4 days.
and 4 more days. So Halloween has always been one of those things that I have a love-hate relationship with. Because of course I absolutely despise jump scares.
But you love candy.
But I love candy. And I actually love anything. There's nothing else about horror movies that I dislike. I mean, for a while there, they were really exploitative about women, and that wasn't exactly one of my top 10s either. However, they've gotten better about that. And I do really love the super gross special effects, not martial arts, special effects. And so I keep trying to find like YouTube videos of like the grossest scenes or whatever, because that way I don't get jump scares. Because I can't stand the jump scares, but I'm fascinated by them being able to do these really, really cool and disgusting scenes. And I'm like, how did they pull that one off? And it's not as awesome these days as it was when I was younger, because when I was younger, it was all practical. Now they've got, computers can do it. But
it's cool for a different reason, because when they get it really realistic, you're like, wow, how'd they do that? And it was
right
through the practical effects.
Right. And some of them, I actually somewhere along the line got on a tear of some sort and ended up actually getting sick to my stomach because of it. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive, actually. Like, not usually grossed out, but I got a little grossed out by some of those. I was like, wow, that's actually kind of cool.
You wouldn't know any specific names off the top of your head for
it was talking about vivisections, like the best dices and slices of people in horror movies. And I don't remember which ones specifically, but it was, people getting sliced into cubes and stuff like that. And I know that they started with the one that was about a boat, a ship, and some kind of whip goes around and cuts everybody up, and the little girl is short, so she doesn't get cut up.
I believe it's Ghost Ship.
Yeah.
I'll double check.
And then one of them was a Japanese or Chinese, I don't know, because there was just screaming, so I couldn't tell what movie it was, but they were in a school bus, and one of the girls gets down to pick something up off of the floor, and the top half of the school bus gets cut off, including all of the students from like the waist up. And so, except her, because she was picking something up off the floor, and so that was also in there. Obviously the 13 Ghosts scene where the guy gets cut through the middle
with the glass door.
That was pretty cool. So it's one of those things. The gross stuff has never bothered me. Because of course, just like you, I was raised in the movie industry, and from the get-go, I had my mom.
Your mom
telling me all of how they did these things. And so just as you had that same experience, my biggest problem is I absolutely cannot stand jump scares. They make me just way too wound up. I get way too freaked out, and I can't deal with it. Just knowing that there are jump scares is enough to really make me just like not, and it's not a thing that I enjoy. What's funny is, speaking of that, since we're gonna free associate, hey Brent, no Alex today. Alex bowed out. We don't know why.
Not feeling well. Not feeling well is what the text said.
So, there was a movie that I saw on Discovery back before Discovery just did aliens and stuff, when it did actual educational things, and they were talking about people who ride roller coasters. And some people will ride a roller coaster and they get dopamine hits. And some people ride roller coasters and they get cortisol hits. And the people who get cortisol hits don't enjoy it. They don't find it fun. They find it to be uncomfortable. Some of them actually physically get sick, things like that. Whereas these other ones get dopamine hits, and it's like just a random roll of the dice. And I think that's what happens with me. I don't get the dopamine hit from the jump scare. I get a cortisol hit. And so to me, the jump scares are no fun. They're not entertaining. So, and that was always hard to explain to people, because before we kind of had a discussion about biology and how biology works, people just thought I was chicken or whatever. And so there was a lot of, we're going to jump scare you anyway, because obviously you really like it secretly. And it would just make me sick to my stomach. And I'd be like, this is not any fun. I don't know why I'm enjoying this at all, or why I should be enjoying this at all, And luckily now the friends that I'm with are different. My friends now are like, nope, legit. He does not care for this. And actually, one of the things that I have oft talked about is how you, Troy, will watch a movie and plan out all of the jump scares just so I can watch the movie if you want me to watch the movie with you, which is something I don't know if I've ever told you I really appreciate, but I do really, really, really appreciate that. Because I think that's just a wonderful gesture and very affirming since I did go through high school with people going, you're obviously faking, boo. Oh crap. Like, why?
All right, so just for anybody who's curious, I did a quick little research here, and the Japanese one's called Tag, Tag, and it's a 2015 film. It's also known as Real Onigoko,
Right.
Gokuko, something like that.
Onigoko.
But yeah, so found that for you.
Thank you. I mean, like I said, I get onto these tears every so often, and I'll just watch all the gross scenes in movies, which cracks me up because I'm like, because that's usually what people are averting in horror movies, and I'm like, no, that's funny. And I remember, speaking of Jason, since Brent was talking about Jason, I don't remember what was going on, but I remember as a kid, all I remember was something was on TV. I'm pretty sure it was a Jason flick.
One of the Friday the 13th.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, girl in the boat on the lake. And then I remember that scene. There was a girl on the boat in the lake, and then something came up out of the water and grabbed her. But before that, there was another girl, and they were on the Hey Joan. They were on the beach or whatever, and I don't remember what happened, but one of the other people took a shovel and smacked her in the head and knocked her head off. I remember that part. Because what I remember was her hands came up and clutched like this, and she fell over. And I remember thinking, how do you still move without a head? Because of course that was part of I don't know, maybe she was possessed or something.
It's a chicken thing. Who knows?
Yeah, chicken thing.
I can't remember.
All from medulla oblongata.
Yeah, I can't remember which episode or series it was on, but it was some game show that Tara and I were recently watching. It was either the 007 one, Amazing Race, or something like that. But there was a challenge where it involved maneuvering with balloons and keeping them from getting popped. And I'm like, yep, guy's out.
Yep.
Guy couldn't do that one.
Nope. And it's funny because, like, I say I don't watch horror, and people assume that it's because I don't want to watch the gory stuff. And I'm like, no, the gory stuff's fine. I actually kind of like watching the gory stuff.
Well, I mean, you got through pretty much all of Walking Dead almost, and The Boys, and there's tons of gore in those. And
it's all because in Walking Dead, they actually kind of went out of their way to not have jump scares.
At least for the first few seasons, and they kind of gave up on it.
That's when I bowed out, was when they started just doing random jump scares. I was like, you guys have changed your formula, you've changed your directors, whatever, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right about the time that Shaniqua Martin Green was in there.
Yeah.
Once she left, I think was pretty much when I gave up. I had a crush on her. I still have a crush on
You
her.
still have a crush on her? What do you mean dead? I
Well,
watched
well,
the
I mean,
first.
the biggest thing is I have a thing for a girl in uniform, and so it did not help any that she
Mhm.
became a captain. I was like, that did not help my crush on her at all. That just made it worse.
Yeah. The first episode of the HBO series It Welcome to Derry came out, and I watched that. And there's a scene early in the beginning where I'm like, "Well, they're just totally setting that up for a jump scare," and it was a jump scare, and
Yeah.
it was classic because it was like it had a row, and of course it focused from the back to the closest, and it's like, well, if you're going to pull focus to the front, then clearly you're going to have something pop up right there,
Right.
and they did. Um, but yeah, there's quite a few jump scares in that, and I don't think you're a big fan of
Sneeze.
the It series anyway, so I doubt you would watch it.
Oh yeah, no.
Um,
No, and the worst part is the telegraphed ones actually are worse for me because
because it
they
builds the
raise
tension.
the anxiety level
Yeah.
and it makes it even worse. And I hate those even more. So I mean, it's bad when they're literal cats off the shelf jump scares. Those are bad. But the ones where they're telegraphed
You're right.
are even worse.
That's why I
Because
had this.
I start to get sick to my stomach before the jump scare, you know.
That's why I had to show you the episode of Community where the cat jumped out like 5 times, and they're like,
Right.
"Is someone throwing this cat at us?" Why is
Although I've got to admit that was kind of funny because in a way it was kind of like me laughing at my own stupid problem with it. Yeah, the sneeze scene was really, really wrong.
Well,
Yeah,
I live on caffeine. So.
yep. I, on the other hand, just it's actually just ice water.
Boo! Could have said anything and you went with ice water.
Yeah, I know. But it is a Starbucks cup. It's just a Starbucks cup full of ice water.
Which would cost you $7.
Yep, it would. Except that I buy the Starbucks cup with all of my stars. There's a Starbucks on campus, and I know that that's probably not the bestest thing ever, but sometimes when you're at college, you just need coffee to make it through the next class. So I've got a lot of, needless to say, I ended up with a lot of it does rule. It is a very cool one. I like these. And this is the thing I do with my stars. Anytime I build up enough stars, I go buy their cups because their cups. First of all, my autism glitch is I can't stand it when someone else drinks out of my cups. So I like to get brightly colored, ridiculous colored cups so that everybody knows it's mine, and I don't have any chance that somebody else will accidentally. That's the points thing for Starbucks.
Yeah.
So when you go to Starbucks, you rack up stars.
It's free to get. It's free to get. They call it their gold card.
Yeah.
You just go get. I think you can get it online actually if you want.
Yeah, you can do it on Nap now, which I do. So yeah, you just rack up every time you go to Starbucks, you get like, whatever, 2 stars or whatever. I don't remember. And sometimes they've got things where, oh, it's a double star day or whatever. And if if you go there during that time, you get 4 stars instead of 2 or whatever. I'm just making up numbers. And then somewhere along the line, they start saying, hey, you've got like 100,000 zillion million stars. Do you want to buy your coffee for free for that? And I'm like, how much are your cups? Yeah. And they're like, only 40 stars or whatever. Well, then I'll buy the cups with that.
Yeah, so it's 2 stars per dollar, and then they run specials. Sometimes you can get 4. And my little trick is you can get a coffee drink for 100 stars, any size. And I will get the largest iced coffee drink they have with no ice, no milk, nothing added. And then I will put in the maximum shots of espresso they allow, which is 12 shots of espresso. And the drink comes out to like $22. But for 100 stars, I get it free. And then I take that home, and it turns into like 7 different drinks because I'll mix it with ice and milk.
Oh, okay. I was just sitting there imagining you going, yep.
and then my atoms move so fast I phase through solid objects.
Like, yeah, things are moving.
They have yet to release to have any awesome artwork that I found on Starbucks cards, but this is the one that
That's
I
the one I
got that I
use.
love. Yeah, it's the mermaid one, which is just amazing. And it's like, why don't they release more artwork like that? That's art that could be on a Magic card. So
Yep, Stars Espresso Go-Go drink. That's not bad. I'm into that plan. Why am I recording?
because you love yourself and you want to go back and watch this again and again.
Well, no, I must have accidentally hit the record button or something. I don't know.
Instead of broadcast?
No, we're obviously broadcasting. Otherwise,
Yeah, they wouldn't be
Brent and
commenting.
Joan would not be seeing us. But I see a big red button up there that looks very much like Hal saying, "What are you doing, guy?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is Espresso Go Go a company, a chain? Because
I
I
don't know.
don't know.
I don't know. Joan is. Does it say it's recording on your screen too? Oh, you're blurry.
Yeah, there, I'm back.
You're back, and your front too,
Mm-hmm.
and your front's not blurry anymore. It's always useful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so Halloween it is a love-hate relationship with me, because I absolutely love all of the wild stuff that happens at Halloween. It's probably by far my favorite holiday of the lot, because free candy day is the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, all the stuff that goes on, even with that, of course, the next day after Halloween is always going to be Dia de Muertos. Boy, I
That's easy.
just lost that.
That's
Day of
easy
the
for you
Dead.
to say.
Yeah, Day of the Dead, right? Because that's the Mexican Day of the Dead, which I love that too, because of all of the fun makeup and paint, and it's just, Mexican parties are always a riot. Like, their cultural stuff is great, and involves siestas and food, two things I just love. So you can't knock that. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Fiestas and siestas, I'm into both of those. I'm into, I think that's great. Day of the Dead, it's just awesome. But yeah, so I mean, that's been, but horror movies themselves I tend to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's just kind of the way it goes. That said, one of my favorite movies ever was just mentioned by Brent a few minutes ago, Aliens. But I know where the 6 jump scares are in that movie. I'm not as good with the ones in Alien as I am with the ones in Aliens. But I've seen Aliens so many times that the jump scares aren't jump scares anymore to me. They're just part of the flow of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Even the extended version with the hot what is that though? What do they call those? Big wheels. The kid with the big wheel. and you, because that's my favorite one to watch, is the extended version of Aliens. If nothing else, because the sentry guns rock.
Mm-hmm.
I love the sentry gun scenes. But yeah, that's let's see, what other movies with jump scares are the one, because there's like 2 or 3 that I love so much that I will watch them anyway. Hey there. Welcome.
I don't know if I know this person.
I don't either. Which
Well,
is fine.
thanks for subscribing.
Thanks for Yeah, I still need to see Alien Earth as well. That one's new. I'm presuming that it's full of jump scares. Anytime you're in the Alien franchise, it seems like they're just packed full. Hey, Bob, packed full of jump scares, and that's just the way that goes. So it is what it is. Now, on the other hand, you're pretty versed with horror flicks.
I am. I was going to just say I wanted to look it up. There is a great website called Where's the Jump? So if you want to know where the jump scares are, there's 11 jump scares in Alien, and only one of them is considered major. And I was looking to see which one the major one is. I'm going to guess it's the
one with Dallas.
The cat hisses and runs away.
I was going to say it's the one.
Oh wait, no, an alien. Yeah, an alien appears in front of Dallas. Yeah, that's
Yep.
the.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah.
when he turns around and the aliens in the
Yeah.
ducts with him.
Yeah. Wah, wah. Yeah, that's
Yep.
a good example of bad communication. It's coming right towards you. From which direction? Well, yeah, you had better teammates, you might have stayed alive.
Although that was replayed in Aliens much better. I
Mhm.
love the one in Aliens.
Yeah. Oh, the It
You guys
franchise.
think that the
Um, yeah, the TV series has at least a couple in it because I just watched the first season of that. No spoilers, or not season, first episode, the pilot episode of it. There are definitely a few jump scares. There's enough jump scares in it that I would not take Guy to see it without
yeah,
noting where all of them are.
thank you.
Um, but yeah, it's I did really enjoy the remake of it, and unlike a lot of people, I thought the second part of that was good. It's almost like 3 hours long, which I think is why it lost a lot of people.
Um,
But it really highlighted, I think, Bill Hader's acting ability in it, and I just thought the adults were great. It was great casting for the adults as the kids, the ones that they chose for who represented who in that.
mm, mm,
Um,
mm. Yeah.
so
Anthony, I don't know if you came in late to the story, but I don't know when you came in on here, but to recap real quickly, there are certain people out there who, when scared, get cortisol instead of dopamine, and I'm one of those people. So I don't like jump scares because it gives me the cortisol response, which that's the wrong feeling, and it makes me sick to my stomach, and I don't like it, and I feel uncomfortable. So we were talking about the fact that generally I just stay away from horror, but it has nothing to do with the gore. I like the gore; it's fine. It's always fun, but um, that's a good question, because we were just talking about there's two types of jump scares that really get me: the ones that are just sudden, and then the ones that have the build up. And I can't deal with either one of them. Like the ones where like they're just coming along and all of a sudden the cat jumps off the shelf. I can't deal with that one. But I also can't deal with the and everything's like, and the person's looking around and the aliens in the room with them, and and then they turn around, because that's the same thing. That's actually worse for me because I get the anxiety, and my stomach starts to hurt right away. And so I'm like, I'm out. I don't want to deal with this. So there are usually the sudden jump scares. If there's only one or two of them in the movie and there's no real warning to them, I can usually weather it pretty well. But yeah, but I can't deal with if it's a movie where, because there's always going to be something. I mean, like I've watched movies where I remember I was watching a movie once where the the kid was an orphan or whatever, and she flashbacked to the day that her parents died, and her mom and dad were talking to her in the car, and since they had both turned around to talk to her, this car ran into them and killed them. But it was sudden, and it was definitely a jump scare, but because I wasn't ready for it, I didn't enjoy it in the second that it happened. But since there wasn't anything else like that in the entire movie, that was the only one, I was okay with it.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
I haven't.
Those
Mhm.
seem to be okay. I mean, when I say okay, that's kind of like saying when I break my finger, it hurts less than when I break my leg. I mean, as in, because I don't like either one of them. I just seem to find the suspenseful ones hurt more. Right? Try to tell yourself it's immersion therapy. Oh.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I did see this really interesting music video that featured the younger version of Demi Moore's character, and the way she moved in that, I could see. I'm like, oh, no wonder she got the role because she has incredibly amazing body control and how she can move.
What are we talking about?
The Substance,
Oh, the substance.
which Bob said is a bit too much body horror for
Oh,
him.
yeah. Because I don't actually watch these movies, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I couldn't handle the substance of what? The
That's
substance of
that's the name of the
movies,
movie.
Yeah,
Did you see it? Did I see what? It. What are you talking about?
exactly. It took me a second because that's what Anthony was
Yeah.
asking too. Was like,
Yeah.
what do you think about
What about
it franchise? And I was
what
like,
about the if you didn't see it, did you see the thing? What thing? The thing. Did you see it or the thing? Would you quit being vague? Uh,
right.
but yeah, speaking of it, my plan for Halloween is I'm going to show probably two, hopefully three movies, followed in between each movie a game that's in the same category. And I don't know if I'm doing it or not, but they did release an expansion to Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill that's specifically the house in the movie It, and you're trying to track down and kill Pennywise.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So that might be one of them. Definitely want to do either Shaun of the Dead or the remake of Dawn of the Dead because I like both of them, and
That's
um,
fair.
and follow that up, of course, with Zombie Side or possibly Dead of
Zombie
Winter.
Side's one of my favorite games.
It's a great cooperative game.
That's why I like it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's you against the board, and the board just keeps generating more zombies.
More zombies, yeah.
Right.
But
What are your
before
thoughts on the creeping fear jump scares?
yeah, before I answer his question, we should do our station identification thing.
Our station identification thing. Okay. If we must. All right. Because there's nothing scarier than our sponsors. Because Geek Tank is sponsored by Kieran Games, Geekway Homes, the Massage Wizard, and
Your mom. Because
who
that's how it
also
goes.
was not fond of jump scares. Just
That's
saying.
I don't know. Might have been.
My mom was not
Your
fond.
mom?
Actually, she was okay with the jump scare. She didn't like the gore. That was so it was all right. I wasn't fond of the jump scares. She wasn't fond of the gore. It meant
Mhm.
we didn't
But
watch a whole lot of horror movies. However, I remember, when you're in the teenage years and oh wait, you've got to address Anthony's question.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
It's okay.
So
I'll
yeah,
come back.
yeah. I like pretty much all the aspects of horror stuff and can appreciate them. I get more of a reaction, more of an internal fear out of the creeping stuff and the psychological type fear that actually has some kind of reaction inside of me. Whereas just gore or any of that, I don't want to say I'm a sociopath, but I'm kind of immune to it because when I was younger, my brother was huge into horror effects, practical horror effects, and read a magazine called Fangora. And I was always the test subject whenever he wanted to try out a new gore effect. So I knew from the ground up how scratch built gore effects were done. And so anytime I'd see that type of effect in a horror movie, all I could see was the red Karo syrup and the latex and all of that. So it didn't have any kind of real effect. But I do appreciate really good effects and good story, and we'll watch them. I think that covers. I was going to say, speaking of moms, my favorite jump scare story when Jaws came out, I was like, what, seven or eight, and this was before the horror movie or just movie ratings in general was like really well common knowledge, and the entire family went to see Jaws, in which there's a scene of a small child getting killed on a raft. So that explains a bit of whatever trauma might be in my brain. But when the shark pops up for the first time when he's throwing the chum in the water, my mom completely freaked out, kicked her feet. She's wearing flip flops and launched one of them like down the aisle and threw the entire bucket of popcorn up in the air. It was like just insane overreaction to a jump scare, which was just hilarious to me.
That is pretty funny, actually. Yeah, I don't have that kind of reaction. I shut down. I'm so uncomfortable that I just completely stop.
Oh, and then yeah, I get what you're talking about, Anthony. Where it's like the audience is in on something that the character in the scene's not, and so we all know the danger that this one character's, how close they came to death, but they never know. So yeah, I get
no.
They never know. I get that. Okay, back to you, Guy. What were you gonna say? You forgot.
I was talking about when you're a kid and you do things that are stupid.
Still do.
I remember watching Poltergeist, which actually is a good movie. But in the early era of HBO, during the Halloween season, they would often run movies like that. And somewhere along the line, they had this poltergeist thing. And I don't know if you guys, people probably don't remember this, but there was a thing when a movie would come out, HBO, when HBO would get the rights to a movie, they would play it multiple times so that you would have a chance of catching it sometime during the day. So you'd get, Poltergeist is going to play at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., kind of like a movie theater. Because, of course, originally HBO was your home box office. So the new movies that would come out would repeat. And I happened to be in Texas at the time at my dad's house, and my cousin was really into this. And so he was like, hey, let's watch Poltergeist. So we watched Poltergeist. Then he wanted to watch it again. And by then I was pretty good with some of the jump scares because I had already kind of seen them in the first pass. But I was kind of fascinated by some of the gore. And so I was like watching the movie the second time and third time and I like watched it all 4 times in that day or whatever. I remember that. And I remember just feeling so sick to my stomach at the end.
Well, the clown scene had to get you.
The clown scene and the pool in the end where they're in the pool and all the skeletons start coming out and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's a bunch of dun, dun, dun sort of jump scares where, and she's trying to get out and they're all over the place. And it was just terrible. The clown scene was horrible. I didn't like that one. Because that one was terrifying. Because even now I can still see all of that scene with a little boy trying to see where the clown is, and he's obviously under the bed. And
and that was one of those where they actually had the twist that it wasn't under the bed; it was when he came back up.
Right.
And so it got you thinking it was done. And then they had the one too with the I think the mirror was one of the other jump scares in Poltergeist.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing about Poltergeist is actually in general, it actually doesn't have that many jump scares. But they were so telegraphed that I got my anxiety wound up pretty good, enough to make myself sick. So
well, good job.
Yeah, I know. And it was just so funny because it was like, I every time I think back on it, I'm like, of course I watched Poltergeist a zillion times because, when you're a teenager, you're like, watch me get sick. This will be fun. Later on, you're like, what? Why? Why would you do that to yourself? Well, here we are. Oh, well.
Well, good job.
Thanks. So I've seen Poltergeist enough times that Poltergeist doesn't actually work on me anymore. And then, of course, Alien and Aliens I've watched so many times just because they're good movies.
Right.
And they're sci-fis. And back in the 80s, we just had a shortage of really good sci-fi. I mean, you pretty much watched everything sci-fi because, that wasn't, everybody was like, sci-fi's niche. We're not going to make a sci-fi movie. Nowadays, we've got such saturation that I can avoid horror. You know what I mean? Like, and still have an endless supply of sci-fi that I still haven't seen, and it's like I don't have to worry about it. But back in the 80s, you pretty much watched horror too because it was all you could watch. So if it was horror and sci-fi, I'd still watch it, even though I was like, oh.
Well,
then there was movies like Life Force where it's like, I'm not even really sure this is horror. Not sure what's going on, but there's a girl naked through all of it, which is what everybody remembers. They do not remember the part about Patrick Stewart, which was why I watched Life Force. And then when there's a girl that's naked through, which apparently everybody else watches Life Force because of the girl that's naked through all of it. I went to that movie because Patrick Stewart's in that movie, and it's apparently one of his worst roles ever. And so I had to see that. So it's a horror movie, but not because of any kind of horror. It's a horror movie because it's Patrick Stewart's worst role ever.
I see.
So, just saying that's the horror of it.
So is it the naked lady the same reason people watch Species?
Probably.
So
There's no Patrick Stewart in Species, so I've never seen
Uh,
Species.
but there's been Kingsley, which if we're talking about like actors who
Ben
shouldn't
Kings.
be
Oh
in
yeah, it's
bed,
pretty bad for Ben Kingsley. That's true.
yeah, and Alfred Molina. So
Oh yeah.
so yeah, but yeah, it's I mean people trying to not get shoeboxed into like I don't want to get typecast as a good actor, so I got to do some bad movies
I got to do
too.
some bad work so that
Yeah,
people. I'm sure there was, it's, it's kind of
yeah,
like because there are movies where Patrick Stewart got into the movie because it's a good reason. That's why he was in Dune. But I'm sure that was just well, gee willikers, I don't have any money anymore, and I need money, and so I'll do this sci-fi movie with this naked girl, and that's a thing. Which is funnier whenever you watch that thing you were showing where the whatever it was, the extras,
oh right,
where he was doing and then she gets naked. We can see everything. Which makes that a whole level of funny, which is
yep.
why I was dying laughing during that one. I don't know if you remember, but when we were watching it, I was laughing for multiple reasons, but not the least of which was Life Force is one of those movies where
Yeah,
no.
extras looks like you can watch it on Tubi for free. It's also on BritBox and other stuff, but it's a British show by Ricky Gervais where he plays an extra in movies, and he gets a special actual actor that's just kind of famous as a guest on it, and the actor always portrays a version of themselves that's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
so like Patrick Stewart doing the here's how to do improv. You just make it up. And that so
Right.
yeah.
I
Uh
just the funny part about Patrick Stewart is one of the big lessons he learned on Star Trek is how to loosen up, because prior to Star Trek he was a stuffy Shakespearean British actor, and the Star Trek set was so next gen was so it was a difficult set because they had a quick turnaround time. They were under an immense amount of pressure. They had a ton of cooks in the kitchen in there because everybody was concerned that Star Trek, which was this big franchise, was going to crash. And so there was a lot of pressure. And so Brent Spiner and Jonathan Frakes, who played Data and Riker, were both cut ups. They would constantly crack the setup because just a lot of pressure. And in the first season, Patrick Stewart was legitimately really ticked off about this. He was like, look, this is important, guys. We can't be sitting here screwing around, da 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 da. And he would get angry with them. And and at first they were having fun with that, but then it became uncomfortable because, it's fine to do it a little, but and on a Star Trek set, generally, this has been traditional. On a Star Trek set, the person who's the captain, that actor actually sort of becomes the captain of the crew. And so they're looking to Patrick to be kind of the set leader, and he's setting up this, everything must be strict and really intense and really under pressure and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, because for the first season, Patrick Stewart was sure that this was going to be a flash in the pan. They were going to do one season. He didn't. He's even said many times he never unpacked his suitcase for the first season because he figured he was going home. After this was over, they were gonna. This is a good gig. He was going to get some money out of it, and it'll keep him going for a little while longer until he gets another Life Force movie. And like that was kind of his thought process on this one. But then, of course, TNG caught. But what was interesting was he went through a metamorphosis at some point in time, and he became the lead trickster on the set. Like it shifted, and the set became this most loving, friendly set that was ever around because they were all fun-loving, happy-go-lucky people, and the entire set was that way. And oddly, Patrick Stewart set the trend that ended up being true through all the other Star Trek sets. But from that point forward, Patrick Stewart didn't take himself seriously anymore. And so there are some really ridiculously funny things that Patrick Stewart has done. And he's just like, but because he's that way, he's like the most approachable human. And you would think that Sir Patrick Stewart, would be the most intimidating person, but he loves to give people hugs. He loves to talk to people. He'll play jokes. He tells funny stories. He dresses in lobster suits, does entire skits with him on the toilet, things like that you would never expect a Shakespearean actor to do. And he is more than happy to go ahead and do that. And I got to give that guy props. He's that was a good, interesting shift, but you can see it in all the movies prior to about 1988. He's got a rod up his butt. But then after 1988, the rod's gone. He pooped it out. So, an interesting side thought.
I could tell you a movie that you probably haven't seen with Patrick Stewart that I'd have to go back and watch it because I'm pretty sure there's at least a couple of jump scares, called Green Room.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one. Probably because of the jump scares.
Yeah, it's not supernatural. It's the horror is humans, that certain humans are just total horrible people. And he plays the leader of a skinhead group.
Oh, which works. Yeah. All I have to do is shave the little parts right here.
Yep. But yeah, it's I think I've seen it 3 times, and it's interesting because I don't love the film. It's just I thought I the way they paced the story and how they set it up, I kind of wanted to dig into that and analyze the way they jump between the story of where the information's coming from.
Right.
Because it's like one of those trapped in a room type stories.
Right. Cube.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen, but I kept seeing advertisements on back in the days when I had Sci-Fi Channel when it actually did stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dune 1984 I've seen probably 5 or 6 times. Which, by the way, you want to talk about weird scenes that make me not feel good? Something about that scene when the pilot shows up and it just zoom and the pilot just shows up. I don't know why, but every time I see that scene, I get that creepy spine tingle all the way down the back of my back, and like all the hairs on my neck stand up, and I have no earthly idea why that freaks me out. But there's something unnaturally weird about that I mean, I still watch it because it's not a jump scare, but it gives me the same creeps that like insects do, and we all know how much I love insects. But it gets something about that one way that they do that, the way it unnaturally zooms in. I don't know what the story is, but boy, it freaks me out.
And if it was The Expanse, the pilot would just explode.
Right.
So
that's a thing.
Yeah. It can't stop that fast.
Body horror was a little rough in Green Room, says Bob. Fair.
It is because there's some mutilation and such. So yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. A horror movie, a good psychological horror movie that doesn't show a whole lot of gore except towards near the end, kind of, is one called Pontypool, Pontypool. It takes place almost entirely in a radio station with one actor.
Oh.
And it's the information he's getting from the outside world. So sort of a twist on like War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds. So that one's an interesting film. My favorite still to this day has got to be Cabin in the Woods. Yeah. With Del and Tucker versus Evil, a close second to that one as far as.
God, I thought you were going to sell Del Taco versus Evil.
Del Taco versus. Well, that's redundant.
I was going to say Del Taco's kind of evil.
No, you would like Del and Tucker versus Evil because it has Alan Tudyk in it.
Oh,
and
I love Alan.
it's very comedic. It's a very comedy horror film the way that Cabin in the
Oh
Woods
yeah,
was.
yeah. Speaking of that, Resident Alien has a couple of pseudo jump scares, and I'm like, really? Because I like
Oh
Resident
yeah,
Alien.
yeah, especially with the alien baby.
Yeah, I like Resident Alien. I like that show a lot, but
Mhm.
boy, there are times where I'm like, really? Did you have to do this to me?
They did.
Because I'm enjoying it, and I'm like, man. But speaking of weird movies that have like odd things, I've talked about this one before. One of my favorite movies from the 80s was a made for TV movie called Special Bulletin.
Hmm.
And it's just it's War of the Worlds, except
Yeah.
nuclear War of the Worlds, and it takes place from the point of view of newscasters who are watching this situation unfold. And so it's all um
No, I'm with you, Bob.
Tucker and
Oh, I'm with you. I get what he says. And Scout Guide to Zombie Apocalypse was a fun movie too.
yeah. Well, no, I'm making fun of Bob saying Tucker
And,
and
and
Dale and
yep.
Tucker. I'm just
Hmm.
it's a good pun.
Hmm.
Intend your puns,
Yeah.
Bob.
He'll
Um
punch you. He'll punch you in the nuts next time he sees
yep,
you.
yep. Which I'm sure actually Bob did intend his puns. So yeah, I'm just,
Hmm.
which by the way, that is a shirt that I saw, which I will get someday, which says "Intend your puns, you cowards."
Hmm.
And I love that because, of course, everybody's like, pun not intended. Intend your puns. But yeah,
But
that
yeah,
Special
Special
Bulletin
Bullets
is definitely one of the ones
19
that I love.
1983. A TV reporter and cameraman are taken hostage on a tugboat.
Yep. Yep. I've got it actually on MP3 or MP4. I mean, I actually have it on my hard drive. So if you ever want to have our favorite movie showing night, I can bring it over because I don't know if I've ever been able to find it easily. It is not an easy movie to find because
Mhm.
it's not standard. Hang on.
Your computer. So yeah, it looks like if you were to look for it, there's a chance it might be on the TV streaming service Plex,
Mhm.
or you could go to the Internet Archive and maybe find it that way.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really hard to find, which is a shame. It's one of my favorites. It is absolutely one of my favorites. And it's not high quality. It's not like the movie is high quality. They literally have a news set,
mhm.
a set for a news anchor, fictional news, and a tugboat. And that's
Oh,
literally all they've got for sets.
you can find it for free on YouTube. I just found it, the entire thing, HD and enhanced.
Oh, Enhanced is good.
Yep.
Murdered by Pirates is good. But
Well,
yeah, that's a Rose Red. Hard one to find. Yeah. Uh, and that's the thing. There's like a number of things especially from the 80s. I talk a lot about Centennial, which was the TV series that kind of changed my world quite a bit in a way. Because Centennial was when my dad was transferred here in 1973, he was working for Marriott in Houston, and he got transferred to Denver to the Marriott that was being built at I-25 and Hampton, which is now gone. But he was transferred to that Marriott because it was brand new, and he was going to be the general manager. So we moved up here. My family moved up here, and my mom continued
your
to
mom.
when she was in Texas, she picked up working for Universal by doing script writing. So they are not script writing, but script rewriting, because this is back before the days of the copy machine. So when they would do a rewrite on a script, they would give it to people like my mom, who
Your
could
mom.
type at 120 words per minute, and she would just retype the entire scripts out for everybody. And so that was her job. And that was, I mean, it was like she was a copy machine. When they moved up here, she continued working for Universal, and then Universal came through in 1975 to do a mini series on the history of Colorado called Centennial. And it had Robert Conrad and, I mean, like all kinds of people. I can't remember all of the other ones, but I mean, I can see their faces. A whole bunch of like
Yeah,
real high profile.
Raymond Burr, Richard Chamberlain,
Richard Chamberlain,
Richard. See what other names I spot here that I recognize. Timothy Dalton,
Timothy Dalton, Robert
Andy
Conrad.
Griffith, and Andy Griffith.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, Donald Pleasance.
Right. But one of the big things that Centennial had that was kind of groundbreaking was the natives that they used were actual natives, as opposed to the 50s,
White.
60s, and early 70s, where they just put white people in there to be the natives. So that's how my mom got involved with the native community here, because they were all local Colorado natives. And so I got involved with the local Colorado natives at like 5 years old, right? Because I was like not very old, and because I don't remember it, but they were, they all these people that all of a sudden, to me, were just people. I didn't think about it until, I think I was in 5th or 6th grade when I finally realized that this was something that wasn't normal, because we went through history of Colorado here, and nobody mentioned Sand Creek. And I knew about Sand Creek because Amiot had told me about Sand Creek, and Amiot was one of the elders in one of the local groups, the native groups, and he had told me all about Sand Creek, so I knew all about it. And even my history teacher was like, "What? This has got to be made up."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that having like this gaslight moment of, even my teacher doesn't know about a huge massacre with a bunch of natives. And then I actually had this moment of, did Amiot make it all up? I was like trying to figure out. Oh, Amazon Prime's got it. I gotta watch that. So
yeah,
what's really sad about this whole thing is I've got some amazing stories that come from that particular miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's name is not in the credits anywhere. She was such a low-ranking person and a woman that she didn't even rate being in the credits. You can't even find, but she clearly was there. I remember her going to the set every day. I remember her traveling all around. I remember her having to work with railroad companies to convince them to let them use the tracks, because there was a lot of, obviously, trains, since this was about Colorado's history, all these trains. And so, I mean, it wasn't like she was making it up. I still have the Centennial jacket that she gave my dad, which was only crew members on Centennial have that. So, it's like, it's clearly a thing. It's just interesting.
What was her name in credits?
It would have been Donna Davis.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's not there.
Nope.
She's not on IMDb either. But that's not uncommon. And oddly, oh, thank you. Thank you. Oddly, it wasn't until the mid to late 80s that the unions made it so that you were required to put everybody who worked on the show in the credits, because they were using the excuse of, well, we just don't have the time, to put all of it. Because, of course, especially something like Centennial had a massive crew. It was just a ton of people. I was on set a couple of times. Apparently, I rode on Robert Conrad's shoulders. So
yeah, it got an 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb, so it's ranked pretty high. Yeah, looks like it was 1978 to 1979, and the story spans from the 1700s up to the late 1970s. So it sounds pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. You know what? I wouldn't, if you're ever game, I would love to sit down and watch that sometime on our Friday nights. Just because I don't think I've seen Centennial since the 80s, and I don't remember much about it. My dad bought the DVD set, and I have the DVD set, but we never watched it. But I mean, it was like part of Dad's history. It was such a big deal. he was on the set. He got to talk to Richard Chamberlain. Like he got to he had coffee with Robert Conrad. I mean, like these are all people that were, and I didn't understand the Robert Conrad thing until I got older and I got into Baba Black Sheep, which he played Pappy Boyington. Conrad did.
Mm-hmm.
12 episodes, but they're an hour long, so it's going to be multiple nights.
Yeah, and it's I was looking at some of the goofs. This is during the massacre episode. The colonel is walking through the streets of Denver, and there's a large crowd of people cheering and waving a 50-star United States flag.
Right.
There were no 50 stars United States flags in 1864.
Right.
I always love finding these little goofs in here like this because it's stuff probably wouldn't even notice in the film.
Right. Well, they were pretty. I don't remember what movie I was in. I was an extra in a movie once, and they had me dressed up in 1800s garb, and I had fake parents, because mom was actually working the show.
Fake
and
mom.
I remember that the director came over and said, "You can't talk about anything. You can't talk about space shuttles. You can't talk about cars. You can't talk about airplanes." Because I was like 6 or something.
And you're like, what am I going to talk about then?
I know. I was like, I ain't got nothing to talk about then. So It was one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't understand that. Oh, they're an hour and a half, so they're 90 minutes. So yeah, it'll take us a couple of nights. It's going to be a few nights. But I think that'd be fun. I'd love to do that sometime.
Well, we got so many backlog stuff. It's hard to know when that's going to happen. So,
well, yeah, but put it in the to-do list is not a bad thing. I mean, we got to watch Wednesday before that. But yeah, when are you going to watch Wednesday? Wednesday.
That's right.
Back to that statement. Every time somebody starts doing the "Who's on first" thing, oddly, the first time I ever really got that "Who's on first" joke comes from Buck Rogers, the 70s Buck Rogers. Because, Buck Rogers is standing there and says, don't you guys have any kind of classic music, Three Dog Night or something? And Dr. Theopolis goes, "The Who?" And he goes, "No, not them. Three Dog Night." And I was like, because that was one of the, "Good night, Bob."
Good night, Bob.
That was one of the first times that I caught that kind of joke. I was young enough so I still remember that even to this day, because I went, "Oh, I get it." I felt like Steve Rogers. Hey, I get that reference,
So I'm double checking here. There's going to be at least one Monday that I'm not available. That's not it. Oh, no, that was it. I just got to go to the right tab. So yeah, I got cast in a play.
Merry Playmas.
Yeah. Since a friend of mine is directing a play and she desperately needed someone that to fill a role that somebody else dropped out of. And
you're gonna be doing lines.
I let myself get suckered into it. So
yep, doing lines, man.
Yep, I'm doing lines.
You're doing lines.
Stop
doing that.
It's gonna cause my nose to bleed.
Right.
So yeah, what is that? Is that the next one? 11/3?
Yeah.
So that's the next show then. Yeah, I'll be at rehearsal that night.
Well,
most of the rehearsals aren't on Monday. It's just for some reason that week it is on Monday.
Happy play.
Thanks. Yeah, it's Jacob Marley's Christmas Carol. So it's the Christmas Carol, but told from Jacob Marley's perspective.
Right. That'll be interesting. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Last time I had to memorize lines for a play was college. So in improv, you don't have to memorize any lines.
I would love to help you, but I don't think there's enough time between now and then.
You can help me by showing up and watching it whenever it happens.
I don't have enough Rotten Tomatoes, dude.
Oh, well. Buy them now.
Okay, yeah, because then they'll rot by that point.
They'll be rotten by December.
Yeah, exactly. No, actually, I will happily come and see you in a play. I love going to see live plays. I love it even more when it's my friends.
Yeah,
those are so much more.
My optimistic view about AI is that it's going to cause live performances to become that much more in demand.
We're going over, but that's
we are. Maybe I'm
But
setting up the next show that I won't
yeah.
be at.
Well, no, I mean, because a friend of, or not a friend of mine, we met a random dude at a Starbucks who happened to be in that field, and he overheard me talking about AI to a friend of mine, and politely interrupted, which was kind of nice because I mean, like but he'd said something, and I hadn't thought about this. He said the difference will be that live performance now is going to be much more important. He
Mhm.
said for it's going to be more people are going to watch Bob Ross more than they're going to want the paintings. And I thought about that and I was like, So I've been thinking about getting back into streaming art,
Yeah.
not because of the art, but because I think he's right. I think people will watch streaming, and I get to hang out with Brent more because every time I stream, Brent hangs out on my streams, which is
Mhm.
cool. So, um, one could say that Brent is the man of my streams.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Hang out more, then maybe you can find the right button to click to give Brent some admin power.
oh, that's right. We got to figure out how to make Brent admin.
Mhm.
I don't know if we lost Anthony. I hope we didn't lose Anthony.
I don't know, but we're losing ourselves because we are past our time.
We are way past our time. All right, guys. Then it'll probably be Alex and me next week, and not
Mhm.
this guy because he's bailing on us already.
Yep.
However, we'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel in theory.
Mhm.
And if we aren't, we'll not be here, but hopefully we will. And until then, though, I hope to see you then. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Anthony,
Mhm.
especially, and Joan, and we had Brent and we had Bob, and that seems
Any
like that's pretty much
anyone else who might have remained quiet and hidden in the
anybody else
shadows.
who's been lurking. We appreciate you as well. We actually respect lurkers because some of us are introverts, and we get that. However, that's all the time that we have for today. So until
Mhm.
next week, I've been Guy.